What's going on, guys? It's Pedro here with Photo Addicts. Welcome back to the channel. And today what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be able to get back and do some work on the JK. The JK's back here. My buddy Victor's down there working. He's actually gotten ahead and started taking off the wheels. And what we're going to be doing today is basically raising the rear shocks on the Jeep JK. So any JK owner or Jeep owner knows that one of the lowest hanging fruits on the Jeeps is the shock mount brackets on the rear axle, and that's the lower mount, and that thing just gets hung up on just about everything. I do have aftermarket axles, and even those are getting just demolished with the rocks. I do have this kit from Barnes, four-wheel drive, which basically is the bracket which is going to go on the upper bucket of the shock mounts on the top part of it, and we're going to be essentially cutting off the other ones. It comes with this hardware. You get these two brackets here, and you get this template here, which I have a gazillion copies of. But this is the instructions, the hardware, and the brackets that it comes with. And basically what that's going to do, it's going to allow me to raise my shocks to create more clearance as you're going through the rocks. That's essentially what you're doing with this. So what we're going to be doing here is, I'll show you right now, these brackets up here where the shock is currently mounted, we're going to be cutting off basically about from this corner to this corner, and then the other one's going to mount and is going to bring it, it's actually going to bring it up a little bit out. And then it does come with the hardware and the template to relocate this sway bar bracket. So that's going to come back a couple of inches back as well. So this should be further back out. Shock is going to be sticking out a little bit further out that way. And this here, which is the lowest hanging point of all, we're going to go up a couple inches here. And because if you look on this side, this thing's just been beat quite a bit. It just keeps pounding on everything and it just gets hung up. If I show you here on the bolt, you see all the you can see here on the edges of the metal how it's been pretty much rock. Every time it goes over rocks or anything, it just grinds a little bit at a time. It's also caused my bracket to get a little bent, so I'm gonna have to give it a little bit of persuasion to straighten that out a little bit. And I'm going to box this after I cut it. Once I erase everything else, I'm going to cut this up a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little skid on the bottom, box it. So that should make it a little bit more rigid. And in return, as I'm going over the rocks under the Jeep, it should allow me to get more clearance here. So if all goes as planned, my goal is to end up about flush somewhere around this area right here. I may even cut a little bit on this bracket here. We'll see how it goes as we're cutting it. So I'm going to be taking the plasma cutter and getting that cut off between the plasma cutter, sawzall, and grinder. I should be able to persuade that thing to come out. All right, guys, so we got the brackets here. I just cut out the templates that are going to be going up to the top, basically on the top hanger on the shocks. This is going to tell me what to cut off. So this is going to line up with the existing brackets, and it's going to allow me to mark out what I need to cut. And then once I do that, the factory bolts get saved. The factory bolts go onto the existing actual mounting points, and that's going to basically press it up against the frame. That'll give me a point where to go. So the instructions call to be able to bolt everything in, I got to drill some holes in, put some nuts on the actual frame. However, I'm only going to mount it, cinch it down where it needs to go, and instead of bolting it down, I'm going to be welding it in place. So because I'm not planning on doing anything else but rock crawling, wheeling on this thing, I'm just going to go ahead and weld it in place, leave it where it needs to go, and it's going to just be permanent. The future plan for this is to get an anti-rock in the rear as well. So for the time being, I will be relocating the sway bar, and then in the future coming back and putting an anti-rock further back. My only concern at the moment is going to be the shocks, the reservoirs on the shocks. I should be able to persuade them, move them into location where they need to be. I think I can rotate them a little bit, and I think it's going to work. Or possibly with relocating that sway bar back, that's going to allow me to give me clearance to be able to clear the actual reservoir. So we just pulled the first bracket off. This has actually suffered a little bit of abuse, and it's quite bent. It's offset by nature as it is, but as you can see, as it's been banged up over time, it's kind of caused it to get a little deformed. So what'll probably happen, you can see the stress point here on the paint. What's going to happen is I'll probably end up having to get new brackets. And once I box those lower brackets on the frame, I'm hoping that's going to make them a little stiffer. If I need to gusset something as we're going, I'll be able to see if I need to make it stronger, because currently as it's getting banged up, it's basically bending the bracket. But I'm hoping that by raising that up, it's going to eliminate the vulnerability that it currently has. Show you where the actual template's going to go. There it is. That's how it goes.
That's what we're cutting off.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it and get it going.
Okay. So we already just cut the brackets here. We were able to cut the both sides. They're already on there. I'm going to do some cleaning up with the grinder right now, and that should allow us to sit those brackets up. I'm going to cinch them down, and if they're lined up right, or it looks like they're lined up correctly, I'll start burning them in. Again, the kit here calls to do it with the bolts. So you basically put the brackets on, you cinch onto the factory bolts, and then you drill holes on the frame on both sides. There's a cross member, there's a frame. You drill holes on both sides and you bolt it down, and that holds the new bracket in place. If you look at them right now, and I'll go ahead and show you guys, I just cut this off. So you cut the one coming up here, you cut this off, and then you cut this side off, and then across. As you can see, I left the bolts there in place. Those are the ones that are going to cinch the factory bracket in. So I was able to burn those off with a plasma. It just made it for quicker work. A grinder would work just fine as well. Same thing on this side. We were to cut this here, cut that, and this down here on that side. What's going on, guys? And it's the next day. Last night I was up till probably about 9 o'clock working on the actual brackets. They're all installed. Victor's back again today to help me. We're gonna get this thing buttoned up. We're gonna get the lower portion all set up. What we're gonna be doing today, and I'll show you guys here, is we're gonna cut the lower portion of those brackets. We're gonna basically bring them up about 2.5 inches from where they're standing. So we're gonna go up. And then once we cut that off, I'm gonna make a plate. The plan is for it to just kind of glide over the rocks, just like the rest of the skids do. So I'll show you here what we're doing. Okay, so this bracket here is already done. I painted it last night before when I finished. We put this shock up here just to mock it. As you can see down here, we got this bracket, and because these are aftermarket axles, they have these removable brackets here, so these are adjustable. Originally we had them down on the lowest point. We're going to bring them all the way up. So the lower control arm bracket right now sits about right below here, and because I do run, it's an aftermarket axle, but the actual long arms are BDS long arms, but they sit on the factory location basically. So they're still down here. In the future, if I wanted to change them, I could shorten the lower control arms and basically put them flush to the axle on the other side if I wanted to in the future. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and follow this, and we're gonna cut it right below the bolt here. As you can see right here, we're gonna cut this right about here. And then, like I said, I'm gonna weld a plate under, and that's gonna allow us to just kind of glide over the rocks. As you can see where the old bracket sat before, and this is where we're cutting, right about here. So this is going to be about flush to this sway bar mount. That's going to give us about 2.5 inches more of clearance, which doesn't sound like a lot, but this is where, as you can see, right, if you look close here, you can see all the metal grinding on it, that you can see that it's been getting hit quite a bit on the rocks, and it is one of the lowest hanging points on the Jeep. So anyone that has a Jeep and knows these lower control arm brackets knows that these are definitely the lowest hanging fruit on the whole Jeep. So just something we're trying to raise up a little bit. Hopefully it works out, and then we're going to be relocating. You can see that the sway bar is off right now. These right here are the stock mounts. We're going to push those back a little bit as well. As you can see here, these are about this bracket actually brings the shocks out about 2.5 inches back. So from what Barnes says on the instructions, you could actually even run longer shocks if you wanted to. And once we get the sway bar out here, we kind of tested everything, and I'll be able, and this is where they were before. We're going to push them back this way. I was worried about the reservoir hitting the sway bar, but after we put everything, just kind of loosely bolted everything in, looks like we're going to be able to have enough clearance to clear the reservoir. So we're going to get going here and keep going with the project, and we'll keep you posted as we go. All right, guys. So I just used a plasma cutter to cut the one side. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the difference. If you look here where Vicky's at, the stock one is there. You see how low that's hanging, which is pretty low. You can see there. And here's the one that I cut off. So you can see it's sitting higher now. So there's the one that's cut. There's the other one. So it's we got one side cut. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the other side. Victor's actually drilling the holes to relocate the sway bar. So if you are gonna be doing this mod and you're not running an anti-rock and you're running the factory sway bar like I am, and anti-rock is definitely in the plans, but I don't have it yet. But I don't want to run without a sway bar. So what this kit requires is to relocate, and it actually comes with a template. This is the template that comes with the kit, and you basically put it on the factory holes, which is up here, up there, and let me see if I can get to see. There it goes. So you put it on the factory holes, and it tells you which way the front is. And what it does is it tells you where to drill the new holes. So Victor already marked them out, and he's gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, so once Victor gets done with this, I'm gonna start fabricating the skid. All right, guys, so we got one side of the brackets done already. They turned out really good. I'm gonna show you what we did, and I'll kind of run you through what we did. The whole plan of it is so that it could just glide over the rocks, and I think we're gonna be able to achieve that. I ended up making the skid plate just shorter so that the front of the arm would be able to pivot perfectly fine. So I'll go ahead and show you what we did. All right, so this is essentially what we did. If you look here, we welded it down here. So this skid plate, it's just going to be able to, if all goes as planned, it goes all the way to here. It goes all the way here. So as you're coming up on rocks, I'm hoping it just kind of glides over. So that should create some clearance and give us a little bit of peace of mind as we're going over the obstacles. So far we're looking good. This side still has a long way to go. Apparently I'm holding up Victor. He's got his template all ready to go up here. As you can see, that's the template I was talking about earlier. You can see it says front there, and he already drilled this side, so it should be able to just go. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. We're gonna get the other side done. Stay tuned and we'll show you the finished product. What's going on, guys? I'm back here now. We're just about done with the project. It's pretty late at night. I got my buddy Victor over here who actually came in clutch today, gave me a big hand. We were able to get this thing done. So the rear is officially done. We were able to raise those rear shock brackets up about 2.5 inches, and shocks are back about 2.5 inches as well. So for now, it ain't gonna make much of a difference, but because those shocks went outward, I lost a little bit of the droop. So what I did, I raised the shocks up a little bit more to not lose so much droop. But what that's gonna allow me to do, if I ever wanna run longer shocks, from what Barnes 4-wheel drive states is that you can run longer shocks. So my guess is probably the next one up would be maybe 14-inch shocks. But for now, the difference that it's made as far as clearance goes is crazy. How a little bit of 2.5 inches makes, but it looks very different. It's a huge upgrade. We were able to weld on that skid plate on the bottom. We put in everything, all the new hardware. Barnes actually added all the hardware for mounting it, which was awesome. The instructions were pretty dead on. They were really clear and legible. However, we didn't really do it as the instructions called because we welded the brackets on the upper, on the cross member and the frame. We tweaked a few things to make it more to our favor and what we were trying to accomplish. But if you're trying to do this, you're on the fence about doing it, it's actually really straightforward. Cutting out those top brackets was not very difficult at all. The instructions are really easy. They work really good. They walk you through step by step. All the hardware is included, which makes it that much better. So if you're on the fence about it, I wouldn't hesitate too much. It's really straightforward, really easy. And it's a bolt-on kit. So if you don't have a welder, not a big deal. You can actually just bolt it on, set everything up, and you're gonna gain some clearance. So if you're on the fence about it, I highly suggest you go for it, and you're gonna like what you see. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what we gained after doing all that, and it's kind of crazy how much higher it looks. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, guys, so if you guys look here, if I take a step back, you can see where those shocks are. They're up quite a ways from where they were. If you look here, there's actually a skid right under here that kind of runs pretty much flat right here. The difference is substantial. The bracket's up there. Just a heads up, if you're gonna be doing this, we did have to trim the heat shield that goes right there. And we did remove the muffler, which made it a tremendous difference as far as being able to have more room. And here's the other side. There's the hanger up top. But I mean, honestly, if you look at it from the back, the clearance is actually significant. If you own a JK, that is definitely one of the lowest hanging parts of this vehicle, and it just gets hung up on just about everything. So don't hesitate if you're on the fence. It's pretty straightforward. I'd highly recommend it. I'm going to be running this soon. Hopefully, if all goes as planned, I'm taking this to Fort Ice, and we'll be going out there, give it a test run. Got a couple things that I'm going to button up, but this turned out real nice. All right, guys, that just about wraps it up for this video. We pretty much got everything buttoned up. All we have left to do is throw the wheels and tires back on this, and that'll be buttoned up. We marked everything. Everything's good to go. If you like what you saw, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them down below, and stay tuned for the next video. This is Peter at 4 Addicts with my buddy Victor. Build, will, break, and repeat. Stay tuned for the next video.